Charles Clanton. I'm the training chief with Smith County Emergency Services District 2. Been in the business for about 30 years. I'm a paramedic and been involved with wildland firefighting for the majority of that time. The operation here at Mill Creek is very special. In the early infancy of the project, we were trying to establish habitat for a wild turkey reintroduction. During that period of time, an event occurred in the Davis Mountains involving a firefighter by the name of Andy Lawler. Andy grew up on this property. His father was a volunteer firefighter with the Haynesville Fire Department, which I'm also affiliated with. And ultimately, Andy succumbed to that event. He had a medical incident, cardiac incident, and it ended up costing him his life. There were difficulties in getting him to definitive care and any advanced level care to him because of the difficulty in terrain and the area that they were located in the Davis Mountains. After that event and the tragedy that was, Texas fire departments and those in the TIFMAS world, the Texas A&M Forest Service, Emergency Medical Task Force, began to visit collectively on what we could do to reduce mortality, to give our firefighters rapid intervention and medical care in a timely fashion. So the development of the wildland paramedic units and the rapid extraction modules began. It was a collective, as I say, approach. And the first deployment of wildland paramedic units in Texas, at least under the umbrella of Emergency Medical Task Force affiliated with TIFMAS, was here on Mill Creek Farm in Andy's memory. The first firefighter that actually portrayed that role in a scenario was there whenever Andy's event occurred. We've incorporated medical aircraft, paramedic ambulances, wildland paramedic units that are on UTVs and can actually go into very inhospitable areas, and all the way up to rapid extraction module, which is 4 highly trained specialists that are rescue technician paramedics that carry an abundance of equipment and can basically short haul with a helicopter on the end of a rope, or they can use rope systems to come up out of a deep ravine or canyons. So they're very specially trained and have a lot of credentials in order to do that. So we've incorporated that ever since that time, and we've been doing this for a number of years now, and that's in Andy's memory. Andy's family was here last night, had dinner with us, and we wanted to convey to them a sense of, you know, the events that occurred there accomplished something here. And though it was tragic, the legacy associated with it is important because a very positive response component came from it.
Emergency traffic, firefighter down. Go for Division Zulu. I have a firefighter, red patient, having crushing chest pain, non-ambulatory at this time. We're going to call this IWI chest pain. Lawrence will have command of the incident within the incident. Again, this is a red patient. Requesting a WPU, a REM team, ambulance strike team, and a helicopter to evacuate the patient. On field maps, we're going to be just east-northeast of drop point 70. My side-by-side is on the trail just north of drop point 70, and we're east of that. Copy, I got a red patient just east-northeast of drop point 70 with chest pain, knee, WPU, REM, EMS. Advise you won't reply. Yes, sir, that'd probably be appropriate from where we're at. Possible heart attack.
I'm walking backwards.
How old are you?
36.
36, all right. You was cutting in line when this happened?
Yeah.
All right.
What's going on?
All right. 36-year-old female, chest pain, radiating the left arm. Nothing necessarily makes it better or worse. Just cutting in line when it happened.
I got some vitals for y'all. 96/48. Heart rate was 110. Respiratory rate was 28.
Okay.
And then I was able to kind of listen to her breath sounds. They sounded clear.
Okay.
She was pale and diaphoretic for the alert.
We're going to try to get a downline down there on that steep ravine right there just to be able to assist if we need it. Other than that, I think we're going to be able to wheel her out.
Don't know. Have you ever had any heart problems before?
Yeah. I take
Labetalol. You take it today?
No.
You allergic to any medicines?
No.
No. Allergic to anything environmental?
No.
Okay. Can you describe that chest pain? Like, what's it feel like?
It feels like it's something. It's just sitting on my chest.
Okay.
Good. Just gonna put some stickers on you.
Anything we need to know about your medical history that you haven't told us yet?
No, not yet. I don't really go to the doctor that much.
Okay.
Deal with this.
Can we simulate? We're doing the 12 lead.
12 lead.
Okay, 12 lead.
AST elevation and 2-3 in ABA.
2-3 in ABA. Alright. We're going to give you some aspirin. Herbalized aspirin.
Aspirin.
Blood pressure right now is 96/48, what I was told. So, I'm not going to give any nitro. Alright. Do you think you could stand up if we help you? Well, all we're going to do is stand you up, and then you're going to lean on this basket, and then we're going to just rock it back. You'll feel like you're falling, but we're gonna get you, okay?
Okay.
2, 3. All right. Now tilt back. All right. Now about 26 shallow. And now 70. Everybody still good?
All right,
Move it up.
hauling. All right.
The live out for the LP. They will call report as soon as they're available.
This was unable to ambulate.
Okay.
Get aspirin.
You got a match over there, Clint? Already got
Got
him.
it.
Did have ASA
Oh,
prior to going unconscious.
Yep. We had 18 gauge established with some fluids. Blood pressure did not change with bag.
Ready?
Fluids.
Blood pressure did not change the fluids.
Correct.
Let's go to the ground and switch to the backboard.
On the way out to the WPU,
Okay.
patient went unconscious. Got her on a non-rebreather. Started just pre-oxygenating.
Okay.
And O2 set was driving.
Yeah, it'll still clip. Okay. It'll still clip.
Gave 1, 2, 3.
Do we have any medical history or allergies?
No allergies, no medical history. Or does take blood pressure medicine.
Does take blood pressure medication.
Did take it this morning.
What's our 12 lead look like?
ST elevation 2-3 and AVF. We've only gotten one. We need to do a repeat, but side by side was very bumpy.
We get still, we'll do another one before we get transported. Okay. Jennifer driving?
I'm driving.
Okay.
Quiet, Mark, okay? We'll tell Ray we moved this machine.
I'm Josh Bardwell. I'm firefighter for Smith County ESD2, and on the 5th annual Lawler Learning Burn here at Mill Creek Farm, I've been the firing boss, overseeing firing operations, working with our interagency partners, running the ignitions operations. One, to meet the objectives of the land managers here for meeting forestry prescriptions, and then also for giving our firefighters the opportunity to see the fire behavior and it translate into how they can take it back to wildfires in their home districts. But the big thing is the story of Andy Lawler. Firefighter Lawler grew up on this farm and worked this ground with his dad, was really close to the foresters here and everybody else, and then he went off to become a Weatherford fireman. In that time, got involved with TIFMAS, and ultimately, we lost Andy on a fire in the Davis Mountains. So with that said, a lot of us that are prescribed fire practitioners, wildland firefighters, wanted to make sure that Andy didn't die in vain. So what we saw is the prescribed burning that was going on out here, and the fact that this was ground that Andy had worked, and Andy believed in TIFMAS, Andy believed in wildland firefighting, and this comes from a structural firefighter standpoint. Andy was the kind of guy that we really wanted to pay honor to by not letting his death be in vain. So although we're doing prescribed fire out here, it's opened up to TIFMAS personnel, structural firefighters, and interagency partners like Texas Forest Service, Texas A&M Forest Service, and other agencies like that, so we can all work together and kind of fix some of the issues that are the common occurrences of tragedy fires, right? So you take structural firefighters getting into wildland firefighting. They're used to working grass fires, as they keep calling them, in their local districts, run-of-the-mill fires, and then if they go out on an engine to a different geographic region, they're not used to the fire behavior that they may encounter. They might be used to the weather that they're going to encounter. But one of the things they're not also accustomed to is working with their interagency cooperators. So Mill Creek Farm is one of those operations where we can bring in multiple people from different agencies, and they work together every single day on ignitions, honing their skills using fire to fight fire or to meet an objective, holding line, the igniter's putting down, so we've got engine crews, hand crews doing that job. Translates perfectly into wildland firefighting. And then also the components with wildland paramedic units and rapid extrication modules, the EMTF factor of it. Getting our firefighters that go down on the line, off the line quickly, and providing them adequate medical care. But the big thing is getting them off the line and getting them to the right place to reach higher level medical care. And we're not leaving people on the mountain or on the hill or down in the drainage for extended periods of time because firefighters don't know what to do to get them out.
No, we're right here on the roadside. We got it.
Yeah, go ahead and bring it in. All right, so look, I can take a path right up through here. Pick it up.
It's pretty good. It could run it, and then it's funneling through here, so we could potentially be sending a ton of fire and smoke and embers across through there. So we're trying to get this buttoned up really good that we close that gateway essentially, that we're not going to allow things to get too crazy on us. So.
Go ahead.
While they're going in deeper here.
Yep.
You ready to copy the weather from up here on the hill where we are?
Now they're not on that 2-track road there, are
Go
they?
ahead.
Yeah,
They're
well,
further.
there's another, that's the
Wind is
loading
about 3 miles an
bit.
hour. Gust up to 12.5. Temperature is 75. Humidity is reading 38% right now.
That's the difference up there, down there.
Is David back there now?
No, that's Dakota giving me.
Oh, Dakota gave you?
You got plenty of visibility. It's light as it comes across.
Good, because that's this firing pattern they're doing. It's a little slower than what we originally anticipated, but we have had to really dial it in to maximize some acreage and trying to keep that smoke up and out instead of just inundated.
Scott Riddle. I'm manager of Mill Creek Farm in Wood County, Texas. My first wildland fire was 1972 with the U.S. Forest Service, and I was deployed in 1973 to Boise, Idaho, fought fires out west, came back, finished my education, went to work, got away from the fire service, moved to Wood County. I've been here for 42 years. We just kept seeing the fuel increase and increase and increase, so we tried to do some controlled fire with the local fire department and also with our staff here on the ranch, and it was just overwhelming. It was just too much. We tried, we had a fire get away from us. We decided that probably wasn't the best thing to do. So in 2017, I started talking to Chief Clanton, and we decided that we were going to do something. We weren't sure what, but in 2018, we did our first operation with Wood County and Smith County Emergency Service District Number 2. Mill Creek Farm is a tree farm. So we're in the business of growing timberland. And controlled fire is very important in the wildland situation. These firefighters are coming from all over the state, Waco, Texarkana, McKinney. They're coming from everywhere to train here on Mill Creek. We have 8,400 acres of timberland, bottomland hardwood. We have the largest inland freshwater marsh in Texas. We're affiliated with EarthX and EarthX Conservation, which is the largest Earth Day celebration in Texas. It'll be a diverse group of people, all in the conservation and environmental movement, and it's just spectacular. It's hard to explain.
My name is Larry Locke. I'm the Director of Support Services for Smith County ESD2, and I'm responsible for fleet maintenance, logistics, IT, and facilities. So out here we've brought our mobile command platform, our tower trailer, our fleet maintenance trailer, as well as our logistics support trailer. So during this event, most of the tools that we were using in the command platform were radios and then mapping functionality. So we were looking at topography, we're looking at the fuel types and models, we're looking for structures that need to be protected, other infrastructure that needs to be protected, and we're able to map those out. We're able to either, in this scenario where it's a prescribed burn for training, we did that in advance. If this was a real world incident, we would be doing that on the fly, following dozer trails in, tracking the progression of the fire, tracking where firefighters are at, and making that information very well known to the firemen. And then also we had a plan section going on, which part of the incident management team is to develop what's called an IAP, or an incident action plan. And they're able to pull all that information together, pull in all the resources that are available that came through check-in, and assemble basically an instruction manual for the firefighters to follow. And that was done out of the plan side of the trailer. So the red and white tape that you see around, those all have markers on them. They'll all be identified with both a letter and a number. The number told us what fire we were burning, what section of the property, and then the letter told us the exact point. We plotted all of those lat long, and we have that available on our large format printers and also on our maps that are in the command platform. And if a fireman was to run into trouble, all they'd have to do is tell us that marker, and we could go right to them. On the yellow striped flagging that we put out, that was to identify a break in the division line, and it's just as a point of reference for the firemen, so they knew clearly when they came up to that yellow marker that they were crossing from one division to the other division.
Exposure. Oh, yeah.
Gotta help them see that path.
An awful lot of education, experience goes into putting together the burn plan that we implement here. There's an actual prescription that outlines basically a bottom level we're going to operate at, and a top out or ceiling related to relative humidity, wind speed, fuel dryness, a lot of different components. So just the average Joe going out here and throwing some fire into their forest to improve it, you need to really be experienced. You need to know exactly what you're doing. And honestly, if you do it at the wrong time, under the wrong conditions, you can kill your timber. So this is something that there's a lot of science in it. And we do a lot of study and prep before we just put fire in the woods. And it's not a reckless kind of situation. We literally plan out every drop of fire that we put on the ground to be sure that our ignition sequence is where we need it to be to create the most management.
All major metropolitan areas in the United States, and especially Texas with population growth, urban expansion has become a huge thing with the cities. They're moving outside of their main loops and beltways and starting to pour concrete into the woods. And so we're starting to see what used to be the farms and ranches that were 10 miles outside town are now part of the community. They're part of the city, and you have communities going in. This Mill Creek opportunity, we're covered with structures built in certain ways around here that the firefighters here are able to get different experiences. They start seeing, how's my firing techniques work in an urban interface setting? Can I even use fire in an urban interface setting? So the water situation, am I water limited? Here also with the lake, also drafting capabilities. So we're seeing this in a lot of our fire departments. My fire department is just like a lot of others, where drafting in some parts of the county, that's the main way you're going to get water. So the point is they have to start getting very tactical with their use of water or lack thereof.
We had a number of different units that we burned over the 3-day period. Each of those had different topography, had different types of fuel loading situations. In other words, some may have been a hardwood component, which is oak, and that type of a situation. And then some of the others are pine or cedar. And so you add in some topography. We had different wind directions all 3 days. We did have quite a bit of change in our weather situation within the 3-day period. And so it was challenging, and it flexes a lot of information gathering. Our CITL, or our resource that gets all of the situational component, like weather, what is our relative humidity, how much wind are we looking at having at 3 o'clock today, for example. And we put all that information together. We try to stay within a given parameter on what we're trying to accomplish from a conservation side. So we want a certain amount of heat, we want a certain amount of fire, we want a certain speed of travel of the flame to create the most management benefit. And so when you start trying to get into the complexity of looking at the weather, and as I said, 3 different days, 3 different weather situations. So it changed how we lit in the fire, it changed maybe how we did some control points. And I would say that that's something that every time I've worked this here over the years, we've had something similar to that happen, and it teaches so much to those participants. That on day 1, I can have a fire that's pretty lazy, it's not moving around a lot, to day 2 and it's moving. And so the environment here and what this offers is incredible. It's a Disney World for wildland firefighters, and I say that kind of laughingly, but it really is something with the topography. The elevation changes on this particular property are incredible. You know, there's even some rocky formations that would make you think you were in Oklahoma. So it drives home a lot of really, really good techniques and tactics, and it makes these guys think. And it's just a heck of a good time to sharpen your senses on what we do here.
What we found also is really cool with the operations in Mill Creek is a lot of folks that were never very comfortable with ignition operations turned out to love it. Next thing you know, they start studying the fire behavior. They start looking at how ignition patterns change the way they do business, and they're translating that into wildfires where they're thinking a lot faster and quicker and more efficiently on putting fire effectively on the ground to fight fire with fire, or structure protection. Out here in Mill Creek, there's so many structures that there's always a prep component to it where they're prepping these structures for the prescribed burn. And then, like we had today on this one, a lot of interface up here. Engines actually backed in progressive hose lays that they can actually start doing what we would do exactly on a wildfire, strategically placing engines, hose lays, stacking personnel, working up through the chain of command on their staffing to adequately work this in conjunction with a live firing operation. That's exactly what we're going to have on wildfires. It's exactly what we deal with every year in the wildland urban interface. What translates here goes right back to their communities, and hopefully all these firefighters here take what they're learning and they're able to take it back and share it amongst their other firefighters to say, hey, here's some more tools in the toolbox of doing more with less, because we're always having to do more or less one way or the other. When it comes to wildland fire, sometimes you just can't put your hands up and say, I'm not going to deal with it. We all have to deal with it. And so the Lawler Learning Burn allows these firefighters to train in all these austere conditions that we can put them through and still have it in a mentoring manner.
There's a lot of different things that come into what we're accomplishing here. You see the communications component, the command and control component, the response on the fire side, the response from the Emergency Medical Task Force as a rescue component. It's an elaborate web of things that must be in place in order to manage wildfires. And there is no better playground for firefighters than right here at Mill Creek.
We don't deploy the platform all the time, but we probably deploy it 6 to 10 times a year, and it's in different scenarios. It's not always a wildland fire. It's good to get the experience on a wildland fire because it's different than a missing person or a large structure fire or a hazmat incident. So anytime we can get the training opportunities in, it's great to learn those mistakes, learn from how we can improve on a training incident versus in the real world.
Visit your local fire station. Talk to your firefighters. If you live in a wildland urban interface, the Texas Forest Service puts on a FireWise program. They do this for the public. They will teach you about fires and how to prep your home before a fire strikes. And that's what we're doing here is we're removing the fuel and improving the wildlife habitat, and it's win-win.
Andy'd be absolutely proud of this operation because everything we're doing out here is to improve the interagency cooperation of all agencies involved, state, federal, private, municipal, whatever it is. Andy was about that, but the thing is Andy didn't need to die in vain. No firefighter does, and if these guys can pick up one thing or another from better fire tactics, better fire behavior acknowledgement, a new skill set. You know, these are the things that Andy was about. Andy had a phrase. He would say, ELE, everyone love everybody. And that's the thing. Everybody comes here from all these different parts of the state and different agencies, and they spend the whole week together doing this operation. So, you know, this is something Andy would have loved it. Andy would have been on a torch, having a good old time, and watching people grow, and he would have been mentoring people. So our job is to carry what Andy did forward and keep that name going, because Andy Lawler meant a lot to a lot of us, and the fact that we're able to put this on the ground and do work in his memory, that's key.
With the cadre of instructors that we have, the experience level that we have, literally hundreds of years worth of service in the wildland arena, and they take it to a different level. We reached out to over 100 people during this period of time, shared Andy's story, paid respect to him and his family, and built firemen for Texas.